I'm very excited. Many of you will recognize the phone, what I have dubbed the bat phone to Jesus, that I make fun of these charlatans and these grifters. And I got a lot of suggestions to make merch out of it. I make a t-shirt or a mug or some kind of a sticker design, and that is what we did. You can see here, it is a callback to the bit on the show. And if you want to help support the show and then get something tangible in return that you can hold in your hand or stick on your laptop or put on a mug, we have it on mugs and everything else, go to dollemore.info and you can support the show in this way. I appreciate it in advance. And also you can just go check out the website that we're retooling all of the merch and all of the, there's ways to get to Brittany Page's channel and our podcasts and all kinds of other stuff. So anyway, dollemore.info will redirect you to that. It seems like one of the most consistent things for Republicans today is elevating people who once held rational, normal positions. From J.D. Vance, the Vice President-elect, Donald Trump's choice to join him in the administration, from J.D. Vance calling Donald Trump America's Hitler, to a litany of others who once spoke truth about Donald Trump until they got a little taste of power, a little being able to have a little adjacency to power itself. And Pete Hegseth is no different whatsoever. Pete Hegseth, in this clip I'm getting ready to play from 2016, March of 2016, even before Megyn Kelly left Fox News. This is on her show, where he is calling out Donald Trump for the things that normal, rational, decent people have called Donald Trump out for years, including deferment on his draft, calling him a draft dodger. And now this same man who is tried and true, an American patriot, Pete Hegseth, is nowhere to be found surrounding those opinions. He's now just full MAGA, as he's being named to be the Department of Defense head, leading the military of the United States as the defense secretary. Anyway, here's that. And then we're going to go through that. This should not surprise you if he is this unmoored to his positions, if he has no loyalty to truth and honor and decency in this way. Why would he be this way, have any adherence to loyalty or upholding his oath in other ways? And we'll get to that. But first, here he is calling Donald Trump what everybody knows Donald Trump is in 2016.
It's typical Trump. All bluster, very little substance. He talks a tough game, but then when pressed on it, he's an armchair tough guy. I hate to say it, but this is a guy who said that John McCain is not a war hero, yet he sought his own 5 military deferments.
Armchair tough guy, says Pete Hegseth about Donald Trump, his new demigod, the man he has now bent the knee to, kissed the ring of. Talking about his 5 draft deferments, his dodging the draft like a physical weakling and coward. And look, dodging the draft itself isn't cowardice, but when you try to act like you're the most militaristic person ever, quote unquote Donald Trump, yet you dodge the draft like a coward, it doesn't hold up. Now, as far as Pete Hegseth is concerned, it does not surprise me whatsoever. I mean, we've seen this pattern with so many people. Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, the aforementioned J.D. Vance, people who used to call Donald Trump what he is, tell the truth about him until they realized, this is going to be bad for me personally and professionally if I go against Donald Trump because the MAGA mob has spoken. Well, Pete Hegseth has dishonored his vows, his oaths in many different ways, including his prolific infidelity in the face of the solemn vow that he took before God and man when he married his wives. I'm going to read from this article in Vanity Fair, which really outlines an insane amount of not upholding his word. Look, marriages have problems. I get that. Infidelity takes place. It's not a justification for it. It's wrong. But when it's prolific and you continue to break your vow to the woman that you pledged fidelity to, it becomes a problem. When it's a habit, when it's a feature, not a bug, it's a problem. And he cheated on this wife, this one of 3 wives, 5 times inside of a 4-year marriage. Now, it's not quite Robert F. Kennedy Jr. There's dozens and dozens of women that he cheated with on his spouse. But it is certainly troubling. Here's the headline: "The storybook start and bitter end of Pete Hegseth's first marriage. Donald Trump's nominee for Secretary of Defense is a conservative culture warrior, a central casting alpha male who believes in guns, God, and the primacy of the family unit. The story of his first marriage, which sources say met a contentious end after he admitted to multiple infidelities, holds a key place in Hegseth's ambition-fueled rise." And you'll learn, if you listen to my videos from earlier in the day, that it wasn't just his first marriage that ended this way. It wasn't just his womanizing and abuse that ended this particular marriage. It was also subsequent marriages. Here's the article. 3 paragraphs from the article, actually. I'll link below. You can read the whole thing. It's fantastic. "In her journal, she was begging God to help her figure out what was happening," one of Schwartz's friends recalled. This is a reference to Schwartz, the ex-wife, and that she, meaning Schwartz, was begging God to help. These are people who, before Trump, had deeply held religious convictions. Now they've sold it all out for Republican supremacy, for white supremacy, for Trump supremacy. But this is who these people used to be before 2016. That November, Hegseth broke the news to Schwartz about the divorce. According to a source, he showed up at Schwartz's parents' house in Forest Lake wearing his Army uniform and admitted his infidelity. Schwartz was understandably devastated. Hegseth appeared devastated too. The following day, Schwartz's younger brother called Hegseth. The conversation lasted 4 hours, a source familiar with the call said. Quote, "Pete said he no longer believed in God and family values. He claimed he no longer wanted to seek the limelight." Funny. He said, and this quote is as clear as day, "I'm a fucked up individual." Many of us are. Schwartz's first impulse was to make the marriage work, 2 sources said. Although she was crushed by Hegseth's infidelity, she was still in love with him. But sources said that her hope soon faded. First, Schwartz saw charges from a local hotel room on her credit card that she didn't recognize. When she confronted Hegseth, he was evasive. 2 sources told me that Schwartz later learned that Hegseth had booked the room for Deering, this other woman, with whom he had been having an affair. Finally, Hegseth revealed that he had had 5 affairs while they were married. While they were married for 4 years. From 2004 to 2009. Roughly 4 years. 5 different affairs. Schwartz told him to only communicate through her divorce lawyer. According to 2 sources, Hegseth wanted to split their assets 50-50. Schwartz did have leverage, though. According to the 2 sources close to her, Hegseth repeatedly asked her to sign an NDA, but she refused. Their divorce judgment filed in Hennepin County reads, quote, this is from their divorce filing, reads, quote, "There exists an irretrievable breakdown of the parties' marriage relationship, ... due to respondents' infidelity." No NDA is going to save you from that, Pete Hegseth. So look, this is really just illustrative of their their zero adherence to the values they claim. Pete Hegseth goes on TV that he's a Christian man. He's got all his Christian nationalist tattoos and white supremacist tattoos all over his body. Yet then in private conversations, "I no longer believe in God or family values," says the believer in God, family values guy. He's made it a feature of his personality. He's made it part of his persona on TV. Yet in real life, in private conversations, that can't be trusted. That's not the truth. The same thing could be said of his earlier statements about Trump. Or maybe it's the current statements about Trump that he doesn't truly believe, and his previous comments and statements were. I would leave that to you. What do you think? You can comment below. As always, that'll help juice up the algorithm. Share this content with new audience members. I would appreciate that. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. Pick up your mugs and your stickers and your totes and your t-shirts with the bat phone on them, dollemore.info. I would appreciate that very much. It's a great way to help support this work, especially, as I mentioned before, with the onslaught of people checking out of politics over the course of the last month or so. Every little bit does go a long way to pay staff and keep the operation running. I appreciate it very much. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore on Twitter. No, not on Twitter. I am not. I'm no longer active on Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky primarily. It is fantastic over there. And if you choose to join me, still social media, I'm at Dollemore. I'd love to see you there. I'll see you next time. Until then, be genuine and take care of one another.